I'm looking at Mayo's scheme of work, and he's compared it. His is the academic one, and I've compared it to another one, which is more about film production, I think, whereas Mayo's is... Sorry, yeah, that was that one. Okay, so I've compared it to that. I compared it to that. Firstly, I've got on my assessment sheet, my peer assessment, how clear were the aims, how they're differentiated from learning outcomes. What's really useful is he's got his learning outcomes all listed under each week. I think it's done, yeah, under each week, which is very helpful. And the aims are all put together at the front, which works quite nicely, I think, because then you can just you know what the whole course, where the whole course is leading, and how each set of learning outcomes then feeds into the overall aims. What kind of formative assessment is being employed? Well, there are checks, presumably observation. You've got feedback sheets. You've got quizzes. You've got discussion as a method of doing formative assessment. You've got tasks that need to be completed. There are elements of peer assessment. You've got worksheets. A little bit of actual practical filming, etc. And then you've got the formal writing aspect coming in towards the end after various sessions that look at essay writing skills. So I think that's really quite nicely done. Does it stipulate what both teacher and students are doing at all times? I think it does. You've got learning and teacher activities together, but under each week it's separated out. Students are going to be looking at their magazine covers. Teacher will show a video clip image for each of the areas of mise-en-scène, and students will explain how it's used within those examples. So each week has got that. How is diagnostic assessment carried out? How is diagnostic? I'm not sure. Might come back to that. To what extent does it incorporate provision for flexibility, pace, content? I think it does, because it's not overly packed out. It's not overly packed with content each time, so there's plenty of time to look at each topic in lots of detail and to iron out any problems as you're going along, to expand on the content if necessary. How is learning being checked? Like I said, you've got Q&A, you've got discussion, you've got worksheets. How constructive is the feedback? There isn't feedback at the moment, is there? And you're going to do your assessment of the essay work for next week. What kind of generic skills are being developed? Well, there's group work involved, so you're getting kind of interpersonal skills. There are the kind of skills that you need presumably to work in media, so understanding all the terminology, understanding how the technology works. ICT skills are going to be there. So I think, and with the in terms of generic skills, with the essay writing, which is part of it. You've obviously got English skills that are being tested. You've got things like shutter speed, etc. So you've got all the maths measurements, etc. going on. How do the assessments match the objectives? Well, I don't know. I'll go back to that one. That's kind of a complicated question I've asked myself. How effectively do you think it differentiates? Well, that's the nice thing about it. I think it allows a lot of space for the students to ask questions It's using lots of different methods of assessment, lots of different kinds of media being used, quizzes being used. So there's lots of checking of learning so that you know as you're going through whether anyone's falling behind and how to then kind of stretch who to stretch. What kind of evaluation methods have been chosen? I'm not quite sure about the evaluation. I don't know if there you didn't know, I didn't either. How useful is the rationale for scheme of work? I think the rationale is very useful because it shows that the scheme of work has been informed by theory. It gives a sense of what kind of context people are going to be operating in, so it gives a sense of the actual physical classroom context, how many people, what kind of dynamic there is in the class. So I think it's very, very useful. It allows for some sort of analysis of and theoretical structure to the scheme of work, and it shows that it has been created with that idea of loops in mind and pushing people up that taxonomy. Is there anything that surprised me about it? I'm not sure if there's anything that surprised me. I think that the flexibility is quite nice to see there. I'm not sure whether that's a surprise. It's just a very valuable element of it. What strategies have been employed to improve overall literacy, numeracy, etc. And said that I think that those essay writing skills, weeks work how to write a good essay, etc. All of that is going to be incredibly useful. Numeracy presumably is there within looking at the different shots, within looking how to measure distances, all of this sort of stuff. Lengths, relative lengths of shots, or zooms. To what extent does the whole portfolio show evidence of reflective practice? Well, it shows that there's clearly an attempt to think about what's been come up with as a scheme of work by the main tutor, and to try and modify and to adapt it according to the kind of students you've got and according to the kind of aims that you've set yourself. So it shows that you're thinking about it and using your experience of the students to inform your portfolio, which is, I think, the whole point of the exercise. Thank you very much.